The third Starship launch was all over the news in the past few weeks, even though we witnessed some amazing milestones achieved by SpaceX, but there were still numerous mishaps by the spacecraft company as the team lost two key pieces of communications at the same time, the Starlink and TDRS. However, these failures are part of the routine for SpaceX as they consider these setbacks a way of learning to be better. And that's why we are here with some exciting news for you. SpaceX is planning to launch a Starship again in only 6 weeks from now. Yes, you've heard it right. It's probably the minimum gap that SpaceX is going to take between two Starships launches. But this plan is relatively more shocking. Any wonder why? Well, let's find out as we welcome back to our channel, where you join the space exploration journey with us and discover challenges and mysteries of cosmic adventures. The last Starship launch surely had its pros and cons, but it still did not create any red flags for the agency. And this is why SpaceX is planning the next launch very soon. One of the major problems when it comes to launching a spacecraft in the atmosphere is getting the license for every launch. But for this, SpaceX is working with the FAA to get a special license, which will be valid for 3 consecutive Starship launches. Sounds fun, doesn't it? Along with this exciting news about the license, another great news is coming directly from the headquarters from the FAA that we'll be looking at a minimum 9 more launches from SpaceX this year. Buckle up, people. This year is going to be super fun. For this year, SpaceX has planned some of the most tremendous missions of all time. It's planning to deploy the first batch of Starlinks into space, along with successful recovery of not only the booster, but the whole ship this year. But coming back to our topic, the 4th Starship launch, we'll be watching this happen somewhere around the 1st or 2nd week of May, which is just around the corner. Starship 29 is at the high bay and has already undergone 3 cryogenic proof tests at Massey's and 2 tests at the suborbital launch site. However, there are still concerns if SpaceX will also undergo the spin prime test for this launch or not. Yet, there are high chances of executing 2 static fire tests for the launch of Ship 29. These were the plans for the ship, but what about the boosters? Which one will SpaceX be using here? For this, Booster 11 is getting prepared at the Mega Bay and will soon see a full 33-engine static fire test. It's important to mention that Ship 29 was shifted to production site during the launch of 3rd Starship, and that's due to the obvious reasons, as the shockwaves from the 3rd launch would have been lethal for Ship 29. Now, to bring it back to the launch site, SpaceX is reactivating the LR-11000 crane, which is responsible for moving the Starships. You can expect Ship 29 to come back to the launch site by this coming week, and trust me, this isn't a joke. SpaceX is pressing hard on the gas pedal and are going full throttle in terms of Starship launches this year. Even though Ship 28 missed out a few tests, those will be covered for Ship 29, as SpaceX can't bear the same situation for this launch as well. SpaceX needs to address the issues that became prominent during the last flight. It's not about conducting several launches a year. The goal is to achieve perfection in work, and that's the obvious motto of SpaceX. Moreover, if we talk about the arrival of the booster to the launch site, it would take some time for Booster 11 to get to the launch pad, as extensive work is required to refurbish the launch table. Not only this, it's missing its hot staging ring, which is also a great concern right now. Still, after conducting all the tests successfully, the booster will go back to the production site, as new sensors would be installed for the actual launch that is planned in the next few weeks. If we take a look at the starbase, it's also being modified as the parking area is demolished and wick drains have been added to this place. If you're wondering what wick drains are, they're actually strips of plastic that are installed inside the ground to make a solid foundation for heavy construction. It's majorly to avoid structural mishaps for future constructions. But what exactly is SpaceX planning to build here? It may come as a surprise, but Tower 2 is under construction. SpaceX is handling dozens of high-value projects side by side, and building Tower 2 is one of those valuable projects for SpaceX. Following this, we will also witness the beginnings of a second orbital tank farm, as the components closest to the launch site are well established. As the construction on the 8th segment of the tower already began in February, it's now almost finished, meaning that the 9th segment of the tower is under construction, and this section is going to house the pulley system. 7 out of 9 segments of the tower are on the brink of completion. Gwyneen Shotwell, the chief operating officer of SpaceX, said, "The company is still reviewing the data from the third launch on March 14, 2024, and mentioned that it was an incredibly successful flight and we hit exactly where we wanted to go, as it was not an orbital flight with purpose, and we wanted to make sure we could passively come back on a trajectory to count on, but we'll come back to Flight 4 in the beginning of May, but I don't think we're going to deploy satellites on the next flight." From the picture we have right now from the company, it seems that SpaceX is super confident about their next launch and are fully equipped to eliminate the flaws encountered in the previous launch. But for all this to become a reality, we'll have to wait for a few weeks. This was the shocking plan of SpaceX to launch the Starship again in 6 weeks. Want to know more about the upcoming space programs and what's changing in our space? Subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to share your valuable feedback in the comments section. Don't forget to check out the latest videos on the channels, as we expect to see you soon, as more interesting content is coming your way. Thanks for watching. Take care.